This is Victor Martinez. And why have you not stopped by the MD Superstore? Come on now. I'm there all the time. You should be there too.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Bay reporting for MuscularDevelopment.com. I am down here in Illinois for the 2013 Wings of Strength Chicago Pro. We're here on the eve of the contest, winding down the evening. Here next to me, I have IFBB Pro Tricky Jackson. Tricky, you competed a few weeks ago, about a month ago or so in Toronto. Got 8th place there. You know, not quite what you were looking for. No, you're definitely looking on moving up in the placings here in Chicago. Talk to me a little bit about maybe where your weight is at, or some changes that you've made. What can we expect as far as differences between Toronto and what we're going to see tomorrow?
Well, in Toronto, I was probably about 95%, and my tan and my color was off. My sponsor, Liquid Sun Rays, is here on site, so I'm not worried about my color. That's going to be on point. I've already got the color done for that. I'm going to get touch-ups bright and early in the morning, so that'll be ready to roll for me. I actually weigh exactly the same as I did in Toronto, but 4 more weeks of prep, dieting, cardio has made me that much tighter. It actually allowed me to eat up to the show for the last 2 weeks so that I'm actually tighter and fuller.
Okay, so we're going to be looking at a little bit fuller, harder, so definitely, again, looking to move up. Now, a lot of guys who might not know that much about the 212 shows, this is, if I'm correct, this is the last 212 show to qualify for the Olympia. They're not going to have a 212 in Tampa and in Dallas. Now, Craig Richardson, in my opinion, probably the front runner for the 212 tomorrow. We just found out, or I just found out a little earlier, but apparently he weighed in. He was about 216. So it looks like, it's definitely going to be a tough battle. We talked a little bit earlier, and actually a fun little fact about Tricky, he's beaten everybody that's in the 212 tomorrow. So that being the case, you got to be a favorite to be, definitely a top 3, maybe a front runner. We all know Guy Cisternino is packing a lot of muscle on his frame and shows up in good shape. How do you feel about, with where you're at right now and coming in tomorrow?
Well, first of all, in reference to Craig Richardson, he's a good buddy of mine. We're both on a contract with MHP, a great supplement company. I actually talked to Craig a couple of years ago, and he was thinking about making a move down. May have been a 202 at the time. And, I told him my personal opinions. I don't see why he would drop down because he's had success in the open. Right now, the 212 still not making the money the open guys are making. So I just told him I didn't think he should sacrifice the muscle to come down. That said, I'm actually glad he didn't make weight because I agree with you. On paper, personally, I think he would have been the man to beat. But at the same time, I want to compete against the best. So when I saw his name on the list, I knew he was going to do it. It made me work that much harder. I'm that type of athlete that when I see what the competition looks like, I push myself into overdrive. And so, guys like Craig and guys like Guy, and you actually mentioned on the list, the only person that's ever actually beaten me is Guy, but there's also a second guy that's beaten me in this lineup too, and that's Ray Ard. Ray Ard beat me in Houston about 3 years ago, okay. And then I beat him a couple shows since then. So he could also be another a dark horse in my eyes. So, it's going to be very competitive. I think Guy's probably a little bit bigger than he has been in past shows, but the last 3 outings I've beat him, and I have no plans on that changing tomorrow.
All right, definitely like the confidence. Now, Tricky, from what you told me a little bit earlier, but we're talking a little bit before the interview, you've been having some really good success actually prepping guys yourself. You've turned 4 guys pro, which is absolutely phenomenal. Now, I know in the smaller scene in bodybuilding in Wisconsin, there's a couple guys that compete at a national level, Kevin Tomasini, one of them, and they're working on prepping guys who compete at a local level or even a national level and do fantastic work with prepping their own guys. But when you're getting ready for a show yourself, even though you're a prep guy and you know the ins and outs of the diets and what you need to do to get into contest shape, even being a prep coach, do you still like to have somebody that helps you with your diet, or maybe not even helps you with your diet, but is like a set of outside eyes to kind of give you a real just no BS critique on how you're coming along or something along those lines?
I'm gonna break this answer down in the 2 parts. The first part I want to talk about is actually being a prep coach. I've actually worked with athletes on the local level for about 15, 20 years. Athletes that won a lot of overalls and a lot of competitions there in Kentucky and Tennessee area and Ohio, Chicago. I just recently, in the last 2 years, have actually started prepping people on a national level and actually prepping people that are other pros. Now, I'm working with a lot of athletes that are bodybuilders, women's physique competitors, men's physique competitors, bikini and figure, so all areas and all aspects. One of the things that I've noticed is some of the athletes that work with people on the local level have some success, but when they get to moving their athletes to the next level, the criteria has changed. And a lot of times those coaches aren't ready to take those athletes to the next level because they don't know what that level is about. I've been there. And so I want to let people know out there, anytime you're getting ready to go to national level and pro level and you're looking for a prep coach, it's time to step up your game and get with somebody that's been there. And I say I'm starting to do this now because I've been competing 26 years. I'm getting to the point where I want to start thinking about other things away from the stage. I'm a promoter. I do a radio show, so I got a couple other things that I do. Prep coach is going to be the next thing. I want to be the prep coach in the industry, and I'm building that right now. But obviously, it's hard to juggle that and still be a competitor as well. And you think of some of the guys out there like George Farah, Fakhri, and these other guys. I mean, these guys aren't competing anymore. So they're able to give 100% to that. That's where I want to be. That said, being a prep coach myself doesn't mean that I don't need someone to also look at me on occasion and say, hey, Tricky, you're not where you need to be. You know, we need to pick this up. We need to back this up. I need somebody I can bounce ideals off of. And somebody that actually knows my body. Because a lot of times when you're competition prep 3, 4, 5 weeks out, you know, you got a lot of things going on. You're trying to bounce things. It's easy to second guess yourself, look yourself in the mirror. You may see a difference, you may not see a difference. So I need somebody that knows my body and I can trust. Travis Wallace has been that guy for me since 2005, since I turned pro. We started together. He's my prep coach. We developed a relationship. Now we're friends, and he's always been there, and we've had great success since then.
Now, Tricky, you know, being that you haven't gotten a 212 win yet, and, you know, we can't really predict how tomorrow's going to go as far as points. If you don't do the Olympia, you know, one of the big stories in the 212 division is them adding a 212 division at the Arnold Classic next year. So, you know, I would assume they're going to invite 15 guys, the same as they would at in the men's open. And, you know, amongst 15, I can't see you not being in the 15 that get invited. You know, if the Olympia stage doesn't happen for you this year, are you gonna do the Arnold 212 next year, do you think?
Well, you know, I mentioned that I've competed for 26 years, and I'm actually 45, I'll be 46 in August. So I'm not a young puppy, but I've still been, you know, battling out with these young guys and doing really good. But after 26 years, I mean, it's getting to the point now where, you know, I feel like I've done everything that I need to do. I've been top 6 in the Olympia. I've won 3 pro shows. You know, I've won tons of national shows. So many things, you know, you set goals for yourself. Can I win the 212 Mr. Olympia? I still feel like I can, but it's a question of whether I want to put another 4 or 5 years into that effort with so many other things that I have going on personally and things like that. But that said, once I found out about the addition of the 212, you better believe the thoughts of retiring and starting to focus on everything completely left my mind. So as soon as this show is over, win or lose, I'm putting my invite in for the Arnold. I'll definitely be there.
Perfect. And I think I can speak for all the fans. You know, you're one of those guys who puts on a fantastic show for the fans at every time you compete. You know, that's one of the things I think the fans really appreciate about Tricky Jackson is that you're going up there just as much for them as you are for yourself. You know, we see bodybuilding, you know, at its core is a physique competition. You know, Peter McGuff brought up some interesting points about posing within the past few weeks about it, and, you know, possibility of having the posing round being judged. But again, I think I speak for everybody saying we're definitely looking forward to seeing you on stage tomorrow night. We know it's going to be an entertaining routine, and you know, on behalf of Muscular Development, we wish you the best of luck tomorrow.